Picture this. A luxury hotel that looks like it belongs in a James Bond movie, carved directly into a cliff face 90 meters underground, with rooms that have windows looking into massive aquariums instead of city views. This sounds like something from a Hollywood set, but it's real. It's in Shanghai, and you can actually book a room there tonight. When architect Martin Yuckman first saw the site 12 years ago, it was literally just a hole in the ground. We're talking about an abandoned stone quarry in Shanghai that had been flooded and forgotten. Most architects would have just walked away, but Yuckman saw something different, an opportunity to build something that had never been attempted before. The challenge was staggering. This quarry drops 90 meters straight down, with unstable rock walls that could collapse at any moment. The vision was ambitious, a 337-room luxury hotel that would hang from the cliff face like something out of a spy movie. The structure would span 100,000 square meters, with most of the building extending down into the quarry rather than up into the sky. What you see from ground level looks like a normal two-story building, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. The real hotel extends down the cliff face in a dramatic glass and steel structure that resembles a waterfall frozen in time. It's the kind of place where you'd expect to see James Bond rappelling down the side or escaping in a speedboat. And here's where the project gets really wild. The bottom two floors of the hotel are completely submerged in the quarry lake, with guest rooms that have massive windows looking out into 30-meter-wide aquariums instead of traditional views. As you can imagine, the engineering challenges were enormous. These aren't just basement rooms with small windows. We're talking about floor-to-ceiling glass walls holding back thousands of tons of water pressure. Regular glass would shatter instantly, so engineers had to use specially manufactured acrylic panels that are 13 to 16 centimeters thick. And these windows are massive. The largest ones measure 5 meters wide by 3.5 meters high and weigh up to 4 tons each. Installing them required a level of precision that was just ridiculous, because any imperfection could lead to catastrophic failure once the water pressure hits. The inspiration came from World War II aviation technology. During the war, aircraft manufacturers developed plexiglass for bomber nose cones that needed to be both transparent and incredibly strong. Chinese engineers took this concept and scaled it up to create windows that can handle the immense pressure of being underwater while providing crystal clear views. The result is hotel rooms where you can lie in bed and watch fish swimming outside your window or dine in an underwater restaurant surrounded by aquarium walls. The hotel's most dramatic feature is what architects call the glass waterfall, a curved glass structure that cascades down the cliff face and houses the building's elevator system. This required over 5,000 square meters of both flat and curved frameless glass panels, creating the illusion of water flowing down the rock face. The engineering complexity was staggering. Each piece of glass had to be precisely manufactured to fit the building's curves, and the installation required cranes and rigging systems that could work in the confined space of the quarry. Inside this glass waterfall are observation elevators that take guests from the surface level down to the rooms deep in the quarry. The curved glass sections were particularly challenging because each panel had to be custom manufactured to exact specifications. There was no room for error. If a piece didn't fit perfectly, there was no way to modify it on site. For guests who want to appreciate the engineering from above, the hotel features a 74-meter-long skywalk that extends from the cliff top out over the quarry, 80 meters above the hotel structure. This walkway uses cantilever engineering principles borrowed from Frank Lloyd Wright's famous falling water house. The skywalk is anchored by 42 holes drilled up to 2 meters deep into the solid rock, with steel beams inserted to create anchor points that can support the entire structure. Standing on the skywalk gives you a bird's-eye view of the entire engineering project. The glass waterfall, the underwater sections, the massive foundations, and the rock stabilization systems all working together. Now, before they could build anything, engineers had to solve a problem that would make most construction teams pack up and go home. The quarry walls were made of volcanic rock that had cooled quickly, creating a mix of solid stone and crumbly, unstable sections that could collapse without warning. The solution came from an unlikely source: a 100-year-old lead mine in Missouri. Back in the 1920s, miners at the St. Joseph Lead Company needed to secure unstable rock ceilings in what was then the world's largest man-made cave. Their solution was the rock bolt, a simple but brilliant device that could hold loose rock together through compression. Chinese engineers took this century-old technology and supercharged it. They installed 6,000 massive rock bolts, some up to 15 meters long, across 5,700 square meters of cliff face. And these aren't your typical construction bolts. We're talking about industrial-strength anchors that create a giant grid holding the entire rock face together. The whole cliff face was then covered with metal mesh and sprayed with a thin layer of cement called shotcrete. The result is a rock wall that's actually stronger than it was naturally, creating a stable foundation for one of the world's most unusual hotels. Shanghai sits in earthquake territory, and building codes require structures to withstand serious seismic activity. But how do you earthquake-proof a building that's attached to a cliff at the top and anchored to the ground at the bottom? The answer comes from studying earthquake-resistant bridges in Italy. The Slagio Viaduct survived a major earthquake that destroyed the nearby village by using a principle called seismic isolation. Instead of trying to make the bridge completely rigid, engineers allowed certain parts to move independently during seismic events. Chinese engineers applied this concept to the Wonderland Hotel using horizontal trusses that sit loosely on platforms rather than being bolted down. During an earthquake, these trusses can slide back and forth, allowing the building to flex and move with the seismic forces rather than fighting them. It's like the difference between a rigid tree branch that snaps in strong wind versus a flexible branch that bends and survives. The hotel is kind of designed to dance with earthquakes rather than trying to stand perfectly still, which actually makes it much safer than conventional rigid construction. With the rock walls secured, engineers faced their next impossible challenge. How do you pour 50,000 cubic meters of concrete 90 meters straight down without it turning into an unusable mess? When you're dropping concrete straight down 90 meters, gravity becomes your enemy. The mixture separates, the heavy materials sink to the bottom, and by the time it reaches its destination, you've got concrete soup instead of a solid foundation. The solution was ingenious. Instead of one long drop, engineers created a series of mixing stations every 15 meters down the quarry wall. Concrete would drop to the first station, get remixed, then continue to the next station for another remix, and so on. And by the time it reached the bottom, the concrete was perfectly mixed and ready to create the massive foundations needed to support a 10,000-ton steel structure. This foundation work was critical because the hotel's design is basically an inverted skyscraper. The 50,000 cubic meters of concrete created a foundation so massive it could support a conventional skyscraper. But in this case, it's holding up a building that hangs from a cliff and extends underwater. The project was moving forward smoothly until March 2018, when everything came to a screeching halt. A pedestrian bridge designed by the same engineering firm collapsed at Florida International University, killing 6 people. Even though the Shanghai hotel design was completely different, the tragedy triggered a comprehensive safety review that would halt construction for years. Independent engineers discovered significant structural concerns in the hotel's design, forcing the removal of the original engineering team and requiring critical portions to be completely redesigned. But instead of abandoning the project, the developers doubled down. New engineering teams were brought in, every system was reviewed and redesigned where necessary, and construction resumed with even more rigorous safety protocols. After 12 years of construction, countless engineering challenges, and solutions that pushed the boundaries of what's possible, the intercontinental Shanghai Wonderland opened as one of the world's most unique hotels. The project proved that with enough creativity, engineering expertise, and determination, you can build almost anything, almost anywhere. The hotel operates exactly as designed. with guests staying in rooms carved into cliff faces, dining in underwater restaurants, and experience luxury accommodations in a setting that looks like it was designed for a James Bond movie. The engineering systems work flawlessly. The structure is proven to be stable and safe, and the dramatic setting provides an experience unlike any other hotel in the world. The Wonderland Hotel proves that the most interesting construction projects happen when engineers are asked to solve problems that just seem impossible. Every challenge, from unstable rock walls to underwater construction to earthquake resistance, required innovative solutions that push construction technology forward. This hotel represents more than just an impressive construction project. It's a demonstration of what becomes possible when you refuse to accept conventional limitations and instead ask, how can we make this work? The result is a structure that's part engineering marvel, part luxury hotel, and part real-life James Bond set. So, what do you think? Would you stay in an underwater hotel room? Let me know in the comments. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time when we explore more of the world's most ambitious construction projects.